Vice President Brian.
Thank you, Council President. I do want to join my colleagues in thanking the members of the Town Council here at Harris Hall this evening. I mean, I think this is a great example of why people like yourselves, people like us, get involved in public service. I think this is a great example of working together as communities and trying to collectively get to the same place in the best way possible. My colleagues asked very pointed questions, and they asked some of the questions that I would have asked. So I guess that's the benefit of the curse of going last. However, I do have two very quick questions. Councilman Fact talked about the wastewater issue, and there was discussion as to if there was no wastewater availability in order to have that process treated locally, that there may be the issue of trucking it out. And there was a resident of your town that had come to our meeting a few weeks ago, or last week, or when it was, and had said that I believe there was a number, and it really struck me. It was something along the lines of a truck every 5 minutes, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And that number really hasn't left my thought, because it seemed unbelievably high. Has there been any kind of analysis or empirical study done in regards to the high or the low rate of traffic in and out of the proposed plan?
There has been, it's in there. There's a lot of factors though that we still don't know. A, you know, if they're going to be trucking in water, and then B, if they're going to truck it out, how much are they going to truck out. One of the concerns that we have as a council is in their permit, they're allowed up to, the one plant, they're allowed up to 30 days a year where they can burn diesel fuel. So they're going to have two 2 million gallon tank, two 1 million gallon tanks on site to store diesel fuel. And that will last for 3 days. So every 3 days they're going to have to truck in 2 million gallons of diesel fuel. Rhode Island, I mean, how many gallons are in a tanker? 9,000? What are we talking about?
Well, Mr. President, in InVengy's in their own application, I believe the number they stated, the oil, when they're trucking up the oil, they're talking about one truck every 15 minutes while they're running on oil, in order to maintain the capacity to keep the plant operation when they're burning oil.
And that's not even considering the
so you're looking at 4 trucks an hour in order to maintain that operation.
Right, and that's not even considering the water.
And again, it's not considering if they're trucking in water or if they're trucking out water. When they're burning oil, they'll require more water, significantly more water, again, going up and coming back than if they're just running on natural gas as well.
And I appreciate that information. It seemed so high that it hasn't left the thought process.
Yeah, it's potentially higher than that. Because the potential would be.
I guess my next question would be, and this is kind of a more practical question in regard to constituent relations. We've all been through an electoral cycle in the past couple of months. You all have been through an electoral cycle as well. I guess briefly I would ask you to just speak to, you had constituency contact. There was a number thrown out by Representative Keeble that the plant is opposed at a number of 85% in the town. What can you speak to in terms of your contact with your constituents and whether or not is that an accurate number?
I'll tell you my experience. Naturally, our council chambers isn't this big, or as historic. I understand Abraham Lincoln School here. That's pretty cool. But it is very historic, and it is very cool. And it's small. It's maybe 45. And for my first 4 years on the council, I would rail about the fact that we'd have a council meeting, and there'd be the town planner be there, the building inspector, the police chief, maybe the superintendent of schools, and the same 2 people. So we have, council chambers, no problem. Now I hold my meetings in the high school auditorium. We've had meetings where we've had 400 or 500 people. The opposition is all of 85%.
there used to be a complaint about the same people coming to the council meetings all the time, and now one of them sitting up here, so.
But you know what? It makes for a raucous pledge of allegiance. It is actually very encouraging to see that kind of engagement in the town.
Who's for, I guess my question is, and Councilman Chairman, I want you to answer, who's for it in the town? In the town?
I talked to maybe a half a dozen people tops, and that was early in the process who were for it because of the money. So like, and everybody, you know, anybody from Burrillville and anybody here knows, I've said it before, my wife and my mother always tell me, if it's only about the money, it's the wrong decision. So, and that's what it came down to. It's only about the money, it's the wrong decision.
And Councilman, I knocked on 5,000 doors this last election cycle, and I had 10 people tell me that they were in some way in favor of the power plant. And it wasn't about wanting a power plant, it was more about revenue. And again, it's 10 out of 5,000 doors.
Yeah.
Well, this opposition that you've seen a few times on the Facebook page of Keep Burrillville Beautiful, Keep Rhode Island Beautiful. There's over 4,000 people who signed petitions, over 2,500 who signed paper petitions. There are, if you've seen those 4x8 signs, there's over 25 of those in people's lawns. There's hundreds of signs, hundreds of t-shirts, hundreds of pens, hundreds of Christmas ornaments. All of this stuff is being done by people in their spare time from reading. If you look at some of these websites we have, No Power Plant, Red Barn, Keep Burrillville Beautiful is a good one to see most of the stuff. People are reading, getting information, educating themselves, and spending a lot of time out here doing this. There are a lot of people that were at baseball fields this summer thinking, oh, well, as soon as the game gets done, I got to get to a meeting, or I got to get to this. Mr. Pacheco is absolutely right. Our council meetings now held in the auditorium. Our zoning meetings were held in the auditorium. And so were our planning meetings. Hundreds of people at each one. The governor came to speak to us, to tell us to trust the process. And during that period of time, the auditorium, which seats 600 people, was full, and hundreds were turned away. So I mean, it is a vocal, it is a committed, and when I look at some of the people that are putting in the time and the effort that they're doing, I'm very proud to be in Burrillville and very proud to be with these people. And just so that you know, the 3 people that were elected to the town council this time were all against the power.
Council President, I think I would, Coles was saying, and I certainly appreciate your comments, Councilman. I think that real people, real leaders such as yourself with real stories and real contact with your voters are far more valuable than what you'll see on social media. So I think that really shows how important this meeting was tonight. So thank you for being here.
No problem. You know, I'll mention something else too. I know for a fact there are people in this room that have been in front of me in council chambers that don't live in Burrillville. They live in other parts of the state, Cranston and South County and Narragansett, Providence,
Pawtucket.
And you know, it's not, I've met a lot of people in the last 14 months, and not all of them in Burrillville against the power plant. It's a lot of the state. And it's, you know, it's one of those things where you might not pay attention to it, but then when you get the information, you can't not be opposed to it.